Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Crystal Viper, The Last Axeman, on March 25th on Listenable Records. This mini LP has 8 songs, 37 minutes in length, and they are a Polish heavy metal band. Now I call this a mini LP because it has the design of an EP, but it has the fluidity, the playability of a full-length record, so it sits somewhere in between those two different worlds. From a design approach, you have side A and side B, both sides with 4 tracks each. On side A, you're going to get 2 covers, one of Aria, one of Diamond Head, and then 2 Crystal Viper songs, one which is an absolute classic, The Last Axeman, the opening track, and then a brand new song, The Haunted Chapel, only available on this release. On side B, the 4 songs are all from the album The Cult, but now recorded live in the studio. So as you can see, this album is very eclectic. It offers a lot of different sides of Crystal Viper, but the fluidity that it has really brings it all together, and it allows the experience to be very compact. From a soundscape perspective, the band is not really trying to do something new here, even though there are some elements that I feel are perhaps a little bit more noticeable on this release than in previous releases. And those elements are the bass and the thickness of the guitars. But outside of them, the overall soundscape is very similar to what we've gotten used to as far as Crystal Viper is concerned. Power metal, classic heavy metal, bringing those two worlds together, making an album that has flow, that has movement, that has peaks and valleys, that has a lot of melody, great riffs, and that's exactly what you're going to get across all 8 songs. But those two elements perhaps set this record apart ever so slightly, at least musically, because from a construction perspective, it's already set apart just by the way it's put together. Now, the bass really has an important role across the entire record. I love how much it pops. I love how much is in the forefront. It's very noticeable. You see the impact that it has, you see the groove that it brings. It helps shape how you're going to perceive the album. Because on one hand, you're going to have the guitars driving forward at all times. And sometimes when you drive forward, you kind of forget about where you've been. And the bass is kind of keeping you grounded from that perspective. Is adding some grooviness, is adding some speed bumps along the way, is changing the perception that the tracks have, and is having a positive impact on the overall soundscape of the songs themselves. So I really fell in love with the bass work throughout the entire record. Now, as far as the thickness is concerned, the guitars really sound big on this release. They have some heaviness to them, but sometimes they just have volume. Now, the two are not always working in side by side, or one is not always feeding off of the other, but it's an interesting element because it allows the record to feel a lot more balanced considering how different all of these songs really are. You have 4 tracks that belong to one single record, you have 2 covers, 2 songs, one brand new, one which is a classic. There's a lot of different movements here, there's a lot of different origins, or at least starting points for how these tracks came about. So making the guitars feel thick, feel heavy, giving them volume, and keeping that volume consistent from start to finish is a very nice way of balancing out the record and give the album a lot more fluidity, making it feel more like a full-length record from that perspective and a lot less like an EP. Now, the vocals, Marta is absolutely phenomenal. She has an incredible range. She can deliver the classic heavy metal approach, and then she can go a little bit higher and push into that power metal range. And you're going to see a little bit of everything throughout these 8 songs. And she just has the right tone, the right delivery for the band, for the songs that they create, and definitely for these 8 tracks. I just love her delivery, and this record is absolutely no different. All around, I love what they did here. I had a smile from ear to ear every time that I pressed play and I went through all 8 songs. It's so diverse, but at the same time, it's so well connected that you don't really feel like you're listening to different songs. They all just feel like Crystal Viper tracks. They all have a very similar approach, a very similar DNA. And that's what makes it really impactful, is that you can experience different starting points and different finish lines as far as each track is concerned, but at the same time, you're so engaged with the overall soundscape that they create that you just connected to it. It's just a record that has incredible playability from start to finish, regardless of where you are. Now, as far as favorite tracks are concerned, I want to start off with The Last Axeman. I mean, this is the opening track. It's a great song. It's a classic Crystal Viper track. It has great melody, and the melody is absolutely contagious. The drums pack a little bit of a heavier sound on this track, and that allows the song overall to have much bigger volume, to feel bigger, but also to have a much bigger force pushing forward. Using layers in the vocals works really well, because when you look at the volume that the track has, you need something similar vocally in order for you to feel like the two elements are parallel to one another and not one is overcoming the other. So using some layers in the vocals really allow the vocals to jump into the forefront and feel like they have the same amount of texture, the same amount of substance as the soundscape behind them. It's a very hype track all around. It has great melodic hooks, it has great sound, it's a power metal anthem from start all the way to the finish, from how it sounds, from how it moves, from how the guitar solos are put together, how the vocals interact with everything. This song is just phenomenal as a banger. Like I said, power metal anthem through and through. Next we have the brand new song, The Haunted Chapel. Now this is a song for the ages. If The Last Axeman is an iconic Crystal Viper song, this one is going to be also an iconic Crystal Viper song going forward. Is a phenomenal track. Great melody, it has great volume, it has great presence. The guitars in the chorus are outstanding because they start off very melodic and then they pick up some heaviness with a lot more chug, with a lot more heaviness to them, making the sound overall feel a lot bigger, a lot thicker, changing from that melodic approach to a more heavier approach. But great transition, great movement, allowing the track to never really lose track of itself. The chorus is really where it's at because everything is building towards that chorus and you can't wait for the chorus to come around because it's hooky, not just musically but vocally, and together really makes it pop. It really makes it stand out in the overall construction of this track. I just love how this song sounds. I love how this song feels. I love the vocals, I love the guitars, and that heaviness in the chorus is just something out of this world. Last but not least, it's Electric, a Diamond Head cover. Great cover. I felt like they did a wonderful job taking the original and then morphing that original ever so slightly into the DNA of the band in order to match the songs that surrounded on this record. It really feels like one of their tracks at times. And that is an important aspect when you're putting a cover together. You want to keep the original intact, or at least as intact as possible, but you also want to create something that has your DNA, that has your fingerprint, and I really feel like they did that with this specific song. It has a great sound, the guitars really drive the experience, they have more of a rock base to it, but that makes the song feel simpler, more direct in its approach. The vocals help connect the DNA of the band to the DNA of the song, merging those two worlds as one, sounding phenomenal throughout the entire track, making the song come to life and allowing the sound that it has to really push the experience forward. I just love this cover. I love how it sounds, I love how it feels, and I love how it connects with the other tracks, like I said, on that side A of this mini LP. This is it. Crystal Viper, The Last Axeman, out March 25th on Listenable Records. Let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.